Okay, we're back at it. So first off, very, very big thank you, because I did not do anything major to put out that 3 years that I have taken this crazy idea that me and my cousin had, but we're going to put that into fruition down the road, that we're going to have multiple podcasts with him and his friends of his old inner circle. But I am still going to be going on with wanting to have podcasts on my laptop with many others, many former co-workers, many people that are famous around this area to my extent. Hopefully I'm actually good enough to actually do that. But I'm going to be getting another new laptop that is going to be more powerful than what I had, because I needed something to get me past the old one that I had. So all the things that I wanted to do 3 years ago, I still want to do. So not because of that last story time video I did that I've never flown or whatever like that. I said I wanted to do the podcast, and the only one I've done was with my cousin. But with all the other things that were going around, never got a chance to do them, but I'm going to do them, and soon down the road, as we go closer to probably the fall, not fall, but close to the winter time, and going into the winter time of 2027, hopefully we will get the podcasts on the road, that we'll do them live on the laptop, and we may do something on the road. You just never know. But those have not changed. I have plans. So I don't want to take anybody up and say that, oh, I'm a hypocrite because I didn't want to do things like that. When you want to do something, things take time, and I'm willing to take the time, and if I have to have the resources to do things that I needed to do to make things happen, so be it. Redo a light, redo my things for my place, do different stuff, try different stuff for food reviews, do a little bit more news, and I'm definitely doing all those sports takes. They are going to be the focus, next to the hockey jerseys, next to the hockey. I'm selling some jerseys here and there, so if you're ever interested, hit me up. But in the end of the day, this video, as I sit here before you, it is very, very important, because anytime I sit on this chair and I speak to you, the loving public, especially those of social media, which there are great ones, there are good ones, there are beginners, novices. Meanwhile, this right here, that is a subscribe button. You want to hit that if you want to be alerted. And any of the stuff that I've done for the last 3 years, check them out if you want if you want a laugh or two of the old stuff that I did with nothing on my background and everything like that, because I am still going to continue talking about the modern day war of Gen X, Gen Z, and millennials. I will continue to put those up. But when I ventured last night with my editor, and we journeyed into an area that we were never ever really, it was kind of foreign to us. We went to a Latin night in Penn State, and it was interesting. Let me just tell you that. So with that being said, it gave us ideas, and it's given me an idea to put together, yes, you people guessed it, Gen X Club Life Volume 9. It's a niner. How many people are on a baseball team? 9. Yeah. What was Drew Brees' number? 9. We've got some stuff to talk about, and it's going to go something like this. Hit the intro. You know what time it is. This is the time that we get to talk about all the certain things that we talk about all the time. I mess up, I stutter all the time, but subscribe button. You want to check that. You want to be alert for anything new as we're doing something, adding on to the legacy. And definitely, like I said, if you want to see any of the old Gen X, not say Gen X, but it's what I named it originally Club Life. I should name it Gen X Club Life. But if you ever want a good laugh and see all the old stuff, and especially things that we did, and things we talked about. Excuse me, I'm all over the place. But check out all the stuff that we did from my first 5 episodes. And then lately, in the last couple, we just talked about all the things that Gen X can do now and what we had to adapt to, as time and as generations comply, because Gen Z pretty much runs everything, but they also take risks, and doing something like me and my editor recently did something very foreign to us, and that was a Latino Latin night. And pretty much Latino music, everything from Bad Bunny, everything you possibly think of. Not as much Pitbull, but we're talking the stuff that, listen, I didn't take Spanish in high school. Shoot me now. But you saw what's a good way to put it? Gen Z does like to take some risks and promoting different things. We couldn't do these things in the 90s, not even the 80s. 80s, you'd have to go to the certain places on earth. You have to go to a Hispanic area, and they blow it up all the time because that's their home, that's their bread and butter, that's their music, that's their lifestyle. But doing it elsewhere, like in a sense, like Penn State or anywhere else, you go to the best club that they have, and then Penn State's got a couple, and you do a Latino night and you push it on social media, and they do fairly well. And when me and the editor were there, it was a good time. I can probably say that me and my editor, and probably say next to probably a handful of people with a couple fingers left over, were the only oldest people there. But we had a good time and enjoyed the vibe and enjoyed the music. And then Gen Z, I'll give them credit on a few things. They take risks on different things, Latino nights, all sorts of different aspects. I mean, we couldn't do that in the 90s. We tried it, and you'd be lucky you get 20 people. Like a grunge night, a rave night, or whatever. You couldn't do that back then. You'd have to go to certain places that nobody knew, and it was a friend to a friend or a friend. Now you get social media all over the place, and flyers are inevitable. You could send those through emails and send those through phone messages, Facebook messages, Instagram. The mass continues, and that's the advantage Gen Z has. Them and late millennials, they can mass push and promote a lot of different things. That's the big thing as far as their push of running, not necessarily running anything, but they're willing to take risks. So think about it that way. And Latino music was very, very good. You know what you hear. And I heard a little bit of Bad Bunny, goes into a little bit of Pitbull beats and all that. But when you are in a place that is probably 95% Gen Z, and you don't know what to do with yourself. But we just chilled, did a couple things, hung out, made some friends, just talked to some people, made some friends, and they were cool. And we saw a lot of things. We saw girls in the flamenco outfits. We saw guys dressed in feathered silk, whatever things. And he was only 5'2", by the way, or 5'3", I don't know, shorter than me. But they were going all out. A Latino night, you go all out and you dress up for these certain things. The one thing I noticed was there was a lot of girls that were dressed up, some in these onesie suits, the skin suits, lace suits, and some in the dresses. But I noticed a lot of the women were wearing sneakers with their dresses, with their outfits. My mind's thinking, you know what? I don't know why they're doing that unless they came from somewhere, or they know when they realize one bad drink on the floor, you're gonna fall on your butt in your heels. Some girls wore them and take the risk; they'll be fine. But I've seen a lot of them wearing regular sneakers, running shoes, and by all means, if that's going to keep you safe, I completely understand that, and I will take that opinion and I will run with it. I will be completely. However, I have to acknowledge that there were certain things that could be a Gen Z trait. They'll wear their dresses, skirts, whatever, look like $1 million from the ankles up, and then they wear sneakers because they either want to be safe or they have to do a lot of walking to go back to home, go to another party, go to another after party, something like that. Gen Z has plans. I may have to let that one slide. However, that might be a trait by then, but then Gen X, we had ours as well. And I've said so many different things about our traits from back in the late 80s, all the 90s, majority of the 2000s, probably all of the 2000s as well, because the early millennials joined our society as well. Certain ones we remember when it was hip hop night and the trends of the time frames. It goes from, I don't know, you tell me if you remember any of these, whether you were at a school dance, a prom, or you were at the clubs, and it wasn't like the big cities where you fill the club, but there's always your hip hop wallflowers. You're not your gangsters or your thugs, but your hip hop and your chilled wallflowers. They know how to dance, they just not ready to do whatever they want to do. They line up on the wall and just observe everything. I did that for a little bit, but that was me not wanting to dance. I just wanted to go out and chill. And you just sit there with a drink in your hand, and you try your best not to go on the floor, because back then, we weren't allowed to have drinks on the floor. Some places still do that, but not in my recent memory have I gone anywhere and you weren't allowed to have a drink on the floor. Now Gen Z does it all the time. Unbelievable. And it's a safety thing, especially for dancers and breakers. That floor has got to be not necessarily spotless, but you can't plant, you can't slide, you can't step in a puddle. If it's dry and you can't slide at all, you could rip your Achilles, or rip a bone or a muscle in your leg, your ankle, your leg. The floors are a big deal. So that's another thing that we do. That's another trait you could have. We own corners. There's a lot of people that come in groups, and then some other people add on to those groups, and they own corners, like we did back in the late 90s in the old crew that I used to have. If you were a rocker, and I know a few, head banging in front of the speakers, in front of the DJ, in front of the smoke machine. When Metallica came on and anything else came on, if that was your thing, kudos to you. You get a golf clap, because some of those people are still alive today, and they own that with like a patch on their sleeve. The line dances are still going on. Apparently there's some new ones now, but what I grew up with was the electric slide, the Cupid shuffle, and the Casper slide. Those were the big things. The electric slide was the first one I remember. And then when you're in the other places, I mean, they still do country ones like the watermelon crawl and all that. And some people still know country ones and try to throw it into hip hop stuff. Heck, Cotton Eye Joe still has a line dance. Imagine that one. Then I get to the point where we were talking. Me and the editor thought about this. We tried to stay away from all the on-floor makeouts, grabbing butts. But then again, the hip-hop industry was big into that. All the hip-hop industry was everything from the R&B and the slow jams. On-floor makeouts were all over the place, and the first thing you'd say to them is, get a room. They were out there at Latin Night, but we pretty much owned that type of trait. That was ours. That's Gen X. That's ours to take for the rest of our lives. I mean, sometimes the 70s did a little bit of it, and the 80s took grasp of it. The 90s and 2000s, with MTV and all that, I think we had it pretty fair, depending on the time frames of what music came out. I mean, we're not going to say everybody has skeletons in their closet, but if you were one of those people, but you owned up to it, golf clap for you. But then there's Gen Z traits, and I'm just going to throw these out. So this is probably like a trait video. Gen Z traits, it's simple. You're allowed to have drinks on the floor. It is the big thing about selfies. You want to put your TikTok out there, your Instagram. I put an 11-second one just to say I survived a Latino night. So what? I'm allowed to do that. Gen X is allowed to do that too. Do not get on us, because you started that trend. Group pics. If there was 4 or 5 turned into 10, you all wanted that group pic. Put it on your Instagram and Facebook and your TikTok. The one thing we learned as Gen X, we live the moment, and Gen Z preserves the moment. You guys, you use your phone for everything. You know what we had? The disposable cameras. Took every picture on that thing. The very following day we go to Walmart, drop that thing off, walk around for an hour until it was all done. And then you take your photos and find the nearest scanner, and you got it like on a disc or something or whatever. I still have pictures in my drawer from all the days back in the late 90s, 2000s. I remember those days. I say it all the time. I miss those days. Besides all the things about preserving moments, I live those moments. Some of those people, I will never see them again. But that's the best thing about remembering. You guys can use your phones, put it up in the cloud. Those disposable cameras were the best thing we could have ever found back in the day. And people, if you had those and you brought one or two of them in your purse and you absolutely had to do it, that's a way of preserving the moment. Absolutely. And I'll run it down by saying, Gen Z doesn't do really big dances anymore. They'll do small circles, but there's nothing for any breakers or dancers or anything. Unless you do a little routine, it's fine. Gen Z doesn't do that very much, unless they do it in places we don't know. But I think I've observed that a lot. So we have our Gen Z traits. Millennials kind of share both sides. And then Gen X, we've owned ours. Boomers will always have their version because that was their time. We remember our time. And, what I said in a previous episode, I think it was the refresher episode, volume 8, if you ever go and you ever find out through Facebook, Instagram, or whatever, of those organizations, Bed by 10 p.m. and Beyond 30, which I'm going to go to again down the road whenever it comes back to Penn State. Bed by 10, I know, is coming to Pittsburgh. They're going to New York and a couple places up northeast. Whenever you find those and you are 30 and over, take advantage of an opportunity about reliving some childhood, not childhood, but your youth. You were out in the 90s, early 90s to 2000s, mid 2000s, 2010s. Find those memories, take a step, spend a couple bucks online, get a couple tickets, best going out as a group, and relive some moments and go clubbing at 4 o'clock all the way to 9:30 or 9 o'clock. That's how they do it. And trust me, you want to go home by about 10. This will wind down this episode of Gen X Club Life, Volume 9, and it's basically a little bit of a trait video, but it's also a thank you for continuously hanging on and listening to a washed-up B-boy. Not a washed-up B-boy, because everything just gets tougher as you get older. What were things you remembered, and what other traits do you remember back in the days of Gen X, going out to the bars, going out to the clubs, going out to the dance floor? And Gen Z can throw a couple as well. What are you doing now that was better than Gen X? Trust me, there's a handful. But I'm closing the bar. There are so many things we can remember, and these are one of them. And all the traits that we did, all the things we remembered we did, all the things that we're very happy that we did. What were some that you remember? I'll see you all legends in the next one.